recorded live in front of no studio audience. This is the Dadnarok Aftershow. This is Shaun.
And this is Chris.
And we're actually not coming to you live this morning. Right now, when this releases, Sunday 10 a.m., you and I will be gearing up to head up to Columbus for a soccer game.
For a very important Crew versus the Portland Timbers. So many playoff implications on the line. I can't wait. And it's going to be your first game. I hope it's a good one. I'm so pumped.
So if you're leaving comments, hey, we always love that. We're just not going to get to them live. We're going to get to them after the fact. So don't let that stop you from leaving comments during the show, because we will get back to you on our YouTube page and wherever you guys are leaving comments. But we're here. It's another week of TV. We're here to discuss The Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Welcome to Wrexham. And don't forget, next week, we're actually cramming Andor into the lineup.
Yes, we've been warned. Like, IMDb failed us. We should have listened to the Wrexham faithful.
Yeah.
Because IMDb had it as 8 episodes. 2 episodes a week. You know what? We're good. Now, IMDb has it as 15 episodes. And the Wrexham faithful have let us know it is longer than 8 episodes. We were like, we were wishy-washy. We couldn't find anything to collaborate it.
Yeah.
And then, boom. IMDb failed us.
Don't worry, we're going to keep covering and watching Welcome to Wrexham.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I think that's one. It's hard to say there's a favorite amongst the 3 we're watching because they're all such different shows.
Right.
2 of them are in the same genre, but they're so different.
Yeah.
And then we have Wrexham itself, which is kind of like, it's gold. And honestly, it really is.
It's good stuff. So that's what we're doing here. And if you don't know the channel already, you should subscribe to us. We do this show. We're covering Big Brother on Friday nights typically. There's only a couple more weeks of that left. And we do trailer reactions too. So if there's a big trailer that releases, we do Dadnarok Reacts, releasing to the trailers. But should we just go ahead and dive into Rings of Power?
Let's roll into the first one here.
Faithful believes that when the petals of the white tree fall, 'tis no idle thing. The very tears of the Valar themselves, a living reminder that their eyes and their judgment are ever upon us. There is a fateful hour in the destinies of men.
I love the show.
There's so many people out there that are so dead set on this show being a certain pace, a certain speed. I love everything about it. I love the world. I love the visuals. I love the characters. Some of the speed can be faster at times. Some I like just kind of marveling in it. I don't think it needs to be any quicker.
I love this show, and I don't care who knows it, unabashedly. I love it. We're only 4 episodes in, and I'm loving what I'm getting so far, honestly. Like, I'm in here with the characters. I like the pacing. Like, go slow and steady. You don't why rush through it? There's so much to cover.
To. If they went too fast, the complaint would be, "Oh, the pacing's too breakneck."
Right. Yeah.
But if they go at speed that they're going at now, people are like, "Oh, well, it's too slow." It's both the 2 shows that we're covering. Even though they're 2 different genres of fantasy, they're at the detriment of themselves running at the same time because they're going to be compared to each other.
Yeah.
And fans of one may not be big fans of the other.
And I'd like to believe it's a minority within the Tolkien fan base that are really kind of, screaming and crying about this thing, because it seems to be a loud vocal minority. That's what I'm hoping it is. And a lot of people that are watching it just aren't, making comments and posts on Facebook and the like, but before the show started, and for a couple years now, I've been a part of this Lord of the Rings group on Facebook. They post memes and stuff, funny stuff between Gimli and Legolas, and stuff I just love scrolling past and giving a little chuckle and moving on with my day.
Just makes you smile, yeah.
Yeah, but what it's been hampered with the last few months is nothing but negative stuff about the show, whether it was like the images that were being put out, the posters, the clips, the trailers. Everybody was hating on it, and then we finally get the show, and they're still hating on it. And their critiques are just not ones that I care about. Like, I don't care. The stuff that is such a detriment that they're saying that's really keeping them from enjoying the show. I just don't care.
Yeah. Now, see, neither do I. I mean, it's fun to watch some of those like YouTube channels that dive really deep into it.
Yeah.
And I've kind of went down a wormhole of one of the ones you kind of led me on to. But it's fun watching them because he's looking at the channel or the show, but he's not dumping on the show. He's like, okay, well, this I may not like how they did do this here, but it may change my mind down the road. So he's
Right.
giving it the
Shout out to
show the
Nerd of the
chance.
Rings.
Yeah, Nerd of the Rings, absolutely. That's who I'm talking about. And be careful with it because you will find yourself down a rabbit hole of a very unproductive workday.
Oh, for sure. You'll start watching videos about Shelob and the spiders and, the
blue
blue
wizards
wizard.
and
Yeah,
all
you'll
of
just
it.
go down and down. And but he presents stuff in such an informed way, and he's patient with the show, right? Like you said, like there's some stuff where he doesn't really agree with how they're doing it, and he's not what he envisioned lining up with the source material, right? But at the same time, he's like, I'm along for the ride. I'm just here to enjoy what's being presented to me, and if I don't like something, I'll say it. And if I do like something, I'll say it. And that's
Even when
kind of the mindset that
he
you and I
hasn't
have,
liked it, he hasn't harped on it.
right?
And that's what's bugging me. There's a show that I watch religiously every day, and they have an after show. I'm not going to bring it up because it was just so negative. I had to shut the show off. It was
Right.
like 5 minutes into the show. One of the people were like, "If it wasn't for the YouTube show I'm doing today, I wouldn't even be watching." Well, in my mind, I'm like, "Then you shouldn't be on that show.
Right.
You
Right.
shouldn't be doing that show if you wouldn't be watching it if you weren't in the place that you're in." And then
Yeah.
one of the big fans like, "I didn't like it at all." It just I was like, "Okay, I can't deal with the negativity. Why start off the show with negativity?"
Yeah.
I love how they leaned into Darwin, I'm forgetting
Durin.
the troll. Durham. There we go. Thank you. The
Darwin the
troll.
dwarf, please. Oh my gosh. Darwin the
Wow.
troll. Who is that?
Okay, guys, roast me now.
Yeah.
But I love the relationship between him and Elrond.
Yeah.
That relationship when they went back in there and he was sitting in his wife's basically kitchen
Yeah.
and they're going back and forth and she's lying to him and he's
He
not.
knows.
I don't think at any point was he buying it.
No, not at all. But
But
he saw how much of a fight she was putting up and how good she was dancing around it, and he just had to give up. He was like, okay.
Well, I think he truly respects the love those two have.
Yeah.
Like they will both bend over backwards to protect each other.
And he truly doesn't want to jeopardize that friendship. Like he's just gotten back in good with Durin. He's not going to push and aggravate things, so he just lets it go. Like I love the stuff between Durin and Elrond. I really do.
So playful and it's also
Yeah.
heartfelt. I mean, there is to me, honestly, that's my favorite part of the show right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have stuff happening in Galadriel. Yeah, we have stuff happening with the humans and the Elf Tower and everything that's going on there. We're back, at Numenor. There's other things that are happening, but that is my favorite part. So when they cut to the next thing I know, we're in that area, in that storyline. I'm like, I just immediately start smiling. It just makes me.
But Chris, Elrond, he doesn't have long hair. Elves shouldn't have short hair. I can't keep watching this show. Elves should have they should have long hair, not short hair. This is crazy.
Shouldn't dwarf wives have beards too? What's going on?
Where are all the wife beards?
I can't.
The dwarfs don't have beards on the wives.
Oh wow! I squeaked. You hear that?
Yeah, that's just what I hear. I envision like comic book guy from The Simpsons, just like worst show ever. Just like, dude, like harping about stuff like that. Just like it's not worth your breath. If you don't like the show, then move on.
Don't
read the
turn
books again.
People are watching.
Yeah.
So many people are complaining apparently online, which that's where the loud majority, minority usually is online.
Right.
But the numbers are there. And I was irritated this week because I wanted to watch it. Like I watched the Thursday night football game.
Yeah.
But I shut it off for Big Brother because we do a show on it.
Right.
And then I turned it back on and I was waiting 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I was refreshing to see if Power of the Ring will pop up. And it wasn't. And I searched and I found it comes on at midnight our time Eastern and 9 o'clock Pacific. And I'm thinking, damn.
Right.
I mean, it's smart. I understand. You have already these millions of people watching the football game. You can't throw another 20 million on top of that for the Power of the Rings or the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
It's going to crash their servers no matter how good they are.
So you and I are pretty well aligned in how our feelings about the overall reception of the show. You and I are fans, and like we said before, if we see something that we don't like plot wise, story wise. We're not gonna know. We're not gonna know how to compare the show to the book and the source material. We're just not.
And I don't
But
want to. I
yeah, I
was the
don't want
same
to. I'm
way when
just
it
along for
came
the
to
ride.
the uh
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I got to the point where I don't want to know anymore. I would
yeah.
prefer not because I'll be ruining my enjoyment of what I'm watching. And I'm gonna stay away from the source material now till at least the end of the season.
So let's get into the some parts of the actual show. So we mentioned Elrond and Durin. There's stuff that reminded me of how Gimli and Legolas used to bicker at each other, but they shared a love that they would never admit it to themselves, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the two they were bros and they do anything for each other, but they would just bicker and complain to each other all the time. I love that, and the stuff with Galadriel and Numenor, I thought that was a real push. I did not expect them by the end of this episode be leaving Numenor to head to Middle Earth. Like that was plot wise, that's like a big development.
They move. See, at the people are saying this. It's moving slowly. That storyline hit fast forward
Oh yeah,
because she started using her voice as one of these elves. Like, you know
yeah,
what? No, we're going to go see so and so. See your father who actually can
yes,
make these decisions. When she started putting her foot down, and after watching some of those videos, I didn't realize the Queen
Queen
Regent.
Regent, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure what her name is off the top of my head, but I didn't realize before that she's actually a sympathizer of the elves. But she really couldn't do anything because the island
because
of
of her
Numenor
kingdom,
isn't.
yeah,
So when the tree actually went ahead and started shedding its petals, like we see in that clip, and she starts explaining to everyone, what's going on, how the Valar, are kind of keeping their eyes on them, and it's kind of a bad omen when that
yeah,
happens. I thought between the vision that she had when she was sleeping, the vision that Galadriel had when she put her hand on one of the
the
seeing stones,
Palantir,
the
yeah,
Palantir, and then how they shot the end, where you see basically the waterfall of petals falling off this tree,
yeah,
and just the way her look of like immediate dread
right,
in her eyes, like she knows what's coming. They have to act. I thought it was shot beautifully. I thought it was
yeah,
done at a good speed, even though it went quick, and they moved that line along faster than I think we would have even guessed going into this
yeah. I think
episode
so. Yeah,
because of the pacing of the show has been a little slower.
yeah.
It felt right the way they did it.
Yeah, her speech to the basically the men and women of Numenor, trying to get them aboard. I think it did its job, because it spoke to the men's pride. That it's like the pride of man is both like a good thing and our own downfall, especially in Middle Earth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
um, they have all these statues of their heroes of long ago, but it's like they're
it
comfortable.
was
They're
long
sitting
ago.
comfortable. It was long ago, and it's like, is that courage still alive in us, or are we just doomed to like be these people that walk around and not help when we can? It's like no, that courage needs to still be here, alive and in our beating hearts. And she speaks to that, and I thought it went a long way. And you're right, the shots of those petals falling from the tree and like a gust of wind just like blows a bunch off. It's the juxtaposition of something so beautiful, meaning something so full of doom. You're right. Like she saw that and it scared it. It scared her.
Yeah.
She was like, I never mind. I got to do something. I got to call Galadriel back from that boat and we got to
Will
do something.
Numenor fall while she's off the island and be destroyed? Because
The only
Numenor is going to
people,
fall during this show run. We don't know if it's going to be this
right,
season or if it's going to be in later seasons. I think it's 5 seasons, if I remember correctly.
right. That's
So
why I was surprised that they left this early on. I was like, oh, whoa, okay. So they are leaving.
because she's
Um,
going to leave, and that other guy, I don't remember. I don't know.
Halbrand.
Yeah, no, not Holbrand. Her second in charge, guy with the beard.
Oh, Elendil.
Yeah, I think he's going to make a power play while she's gone.
I don't know. Oh no. Okay, so no, that's confused. Elendil is Isildur's father. I know who you mean now. Basically, like her hand of the king, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He seems, and I think I have a little bit of book knowledge here. I think they're not as closely aligned as the show has portrayed those two characters to be, the Queen Regent and that guy.
yeah.
So I can see that happening. Yeah, for sure. And I know eventually, Elendil leads the men of Numenor, and then his son is Isildur, and Isildur is eventually one that cut the ring off of Sauron's finger. But yeah, there's big things happening with Numenor, and I can't wait to see like who survives, who doesn't, how this all plays out. Who is Halbrand in all this? Is he somebody that we know or somebody that we don't?
I mean, people think he's Sauron. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm hearing that because just the way he was whispering in that one guy's ear, like, how about you don't hurt her? What if you know where she's going? Type, little things.
there's that. Plus the fact that I think so in the Second Age, Sauron is supposed to take form of. Typically, I think he's in the form of an elf, where he's like this elf that goes around and kind of seduces people's ear and like does that same kind of thing.
Well, then we have Ador. Last
yeah,
episode.
yeah, right.
Is
And
that
even in
him
the
then?
intro, they say specifically Sauron went by many names, and when they did, they showed that shot of Adar that we got the last time. So even the show is pointing us. I mean, it could be a red herring, but
I think it probably is a red herring. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that blatant.
right.
They're going to make sure that they lead us along a little bit, make us think that we know what we're watching, and then something's going to twist it.
So Adar, he has a conversation with. Sorry, I'm forgetting all the names too. The lead elf that we've been hanging out with, who's been that was guarding the men.
Oh yeah, his name is completely escapes me. Yeah,
yeah. But he's been held captive by the orcs and stuff, and he, basically he's let go, and he's like, tell the men that if they swear fealty to me, then they can have their land back or whatever, that kind of thing. Which
live, though that if you don't, you die type situation.
Yeah.
But will he get message back to the elves, and they'll have backing when they come at him? I think there's gonna be we're gonna see a big battle. I don't know if we're gonna get a Helm's Deep type battle, but we're gonna get a big battle in the next episode.
And I love the orcs, dude. They are so nasty. They're like exactly how they should be. They're just so gross.
And there's a ton of different types.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? It's not like one type. It's not like orc, goblin,
they all have different features.
Yeah. You got a ton of different ones that are going on. Like I said, I unabashedly love this show. When it ended last night, I was like, man, I wanted more. I just wanted more of that world. Now, is this world too big for the story they're telling? That's something I've heard as well.
I don't think so. I think, you can tell a story of a whole Star Wars galaxy, honestly, as long as you have good pacing and you tell the story right. Like, I don't think that's an issue. But, I think what a bigger issue is that a lot of people making these complaints are people that are probably younger than us. And they're used to the Netflix binge model. They're used to, if a show doesn't hook me within the first 2 or 3 episodes, then I'll just check out. I'm done. Like, there's just so much content out there that I can't give a show a chance. When you and me come from the days from appointment television, like we had it one show per week, and we were tuned in. We were there in front of the TV at 8 p.m. or whatever. And if we missed it, we missed it. And like everything was a slow burn. Everything was one drip episode at a time. And like, and sometimes the episode would be excellent. Sometimes you would get a dud and a real stinker, but it's like, you wouldn't quit watching the show.
Yeah, no. And I think those people that want to binge are in for a rude awakening soon.
Yeah.
Because certain like Netflix, for instance, it's not working for anymore.
Right.
But nevertheless, I love the episode. I love the visuals. I love all the stories. We got no Hardfoots this episode.
Right.
Which
true.
I was like, I didn't miss them. I didn't, with everything else going on, I didn't miss getting anything from that because I got so much from Dern and
Elrond.
Yeah, thank you. That made up for me because I like I said, every time they come on the screen, I'm immediately find myself smiling.
Yeah,
I'm like that whole storyline just I love. I can't even say how much I enjoy that storyline.
So the Rings of Power continues to intrigue. Chris and I, we're along for the ride. What are your feelings on the show? Give us your take. I mean, how are you? Are you a Tolkien fan before this? I'm sure you probably watched and loved the Peter Jackson movies because they were pretty much universally beloved. But give us your opinion. What does the show mean to you currently? Are you sticking around with it? Are you have you noped out already? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, drop them below and we'll respond when we get an opportunity.
I don't know how people do this. It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking.
Yeah. My American optimism and your Canadian pragmatism both fucked us.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Look, you can't taste the sweet until you taste the sour, I guess.
You're not going to talk like this for 4 hours, are you?
I love that line. You're not gonna talk like this for 4 hours, are you?
Theo, McElhenney F-bomb.
Wow, we came in on this one like a dud, didn't we?
Yeah,
Man,
coming
we
in
went
hot. Coming in hot. A couple episodes, this half of which this is a really weird kind of couple episodes, honestly.
Yeah, I've got thoughts on this episode here. So
Yeah.
let's get into the good. So before we dive into kind of something I wasn't a fan of, but anyway. So what did you think? I warned you last night. I was like, you know what? This is not what we've been seeing. We're seeing basically one show completely separate, and then the second show is basically all footage of a game.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I finally like seeing some of that game footage, seeing some of the heartbreak, seeing Ryan and Rob show up to not their first home game, but their first away game, which took balls, honestly. I mean, you know you're going to get heckled when you go to an away game.
Yeah.
And being who they are, it was amazing. I mean, they were getting it. You bought the wrong team they're chanting.
Right.
I mean, that's brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. This felt like an intermission. Kind of like, because I guess we are at the halfway point technically now. I thought we were rounding out to the end of the season 1, but no, that's not where we're at. It felt like an intermission. Like, here's an opportunity to tell you more about Wales in a fun way, a little bit of educational stuff for you folks across the sea that don't know was about Wales and its history, and then present it in a fun way. And then here's the first time that Rob and Ryan are actually out there and viewing a game in person, and they kind of follow the entirety of a game, which is different. Both episodes were a lot different than what we've gotten thus far, and you and I maybe bristle against that because you and I have really liked what's been presented thus far, as far as the format goes, the documentary style. Just a little touch, a little taste of Rob and Ryan and what they're doing behind the scenes with a little bit of humor, and then the drama of the people that surround the team and their stories. And so far, that's been a formula that you and I have enjoyed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I love the fact that they gave us game footage.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I love seeing, the heartbreak of a quick goal. I like seeing them, just the jubilation of them tying it, just the whole deal.
Yeah.
But I did not like the first episode the least.
Yeah.
I had my phone in my hand. That's how I judge things. I was barely paying attention.
Yeah.
I hate being on this side and saying I feel like insulted for somebody, or I'm the one that's up in arms for people that probably aren't up in arms about anything.
Right.
But I felt like it was. I know it was done in satire.
Yeah.
A lot of the things, but I was like, is this degrading? Is this? It felt wrong to me. It felt off. It didn't feel funny. It didn't feel. I felt like it was insulting the country, which I shouldn't be even. You know what I mean? I'm not from there, so I don't even know if they were.
Did you just not feel the style that they were presenting it in? A lot of tongue in cheek, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of just trying to be a little too silly about it, given a country's history.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I felt like they were poking fun of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm like, should we be making fun of things when we're looking to be accepted into that world?
Right.
I think they should have treaded a little more carefully.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think that episode was needed. I don't think that episode was needed whatsoever.
It felt like a bonus feature. Like if you were watching a season of a TV show and then you played like this is like a bonus feature or something. That's what it felt like. It felt, a little, it was a little too different from what we've been presented so far. I do get that. I enjoyed it a little bit more than you did, probably. I like that they brought on actually, celebrity type folks from Wales, like Charlotte Church, who sang at the end, and the lady, I forget her name, that did the baking thing with them, and showing a little bit about their customs and culture. And they did it in a very Ryan Reynolds way, which it's like, full disclosure, like I like Ryan Reynolds. I think he's talented. I think he does a lot of good stuff. But his shtick a little bit goes a long way for me. I don't know if I can sit around and watch an entire. But it feels eventually it just feels like you're sitting around watching Deadpool, and that's not what the show is.
No, not at all. And
Yeah,
I think that's what was starting to rub me the wrong way when they were like saying one thing, and then the lady was cooking with them was saying something in Welsh and
right.
basically calling them idiots.
Yeah,
So it's like I didn't need that. When I tuned in today, I wanted to see more about the club. I wanted to see more about the pub, more about the renovation of the stadium.
yes.
Are they moving up the table? Where they stand? I mean, I cheated. I couldn't help myself. I went online. I checked the standings. Do you want to know where they currently sit? If that's where they still currently sit,
Yes. Let me
they
know.
sit second right now on the table.
Oh, hey, all right.
I think they've got a game coming up here within the next week or so.
Okay.
It'll be a big 3 points. I'm not sure how close within the points, but I know they sit second. I think at the end of this episode, they were sitting like 12th, I think it
How do
was.
we watch them here in the States? Is there a way for us to watch them?
I don't know if there's a way to actually watch the games in the States. No,
Dang. Shoot.
that
I'll
I
have
don't
to do
know.
some research and see if there's a legit way or maybe a non-legit way. You know what I mean?
Well, Rob's getting them. Rob and Ryan are getting them somehow.
Yeah.
So
there's
they may be streaming online somewhere, or there's got to be some way to
yeah,
actually
I have
see
to
the
do some
games.
digging. Yeah, because I would love to sit down and watch an actual full game, and especially if they're second right now and if we're coming. I see. Here's how little I know about soccer. Like I don't even know like when the season begins, when it ends.
It's
Like
a lot different over on that side. Like for
yeah,
instance, the MLS is coming to an end.
right,
So it's really I think it comes down to we have such a rash of harsh weather. If it's storms, if it's snow, if it's hurricanes, I think that part of the world doesn't see the wide variety of weather we get. So we stop.
right.
October is like the end of October is kind of when playoffs start. November is kind of when it wraps up.
Hmm.
I think they just like Premier League, I think just started up again.
Mm,
So I'm not sure exactly the time frame of where they run,
yeah.
but yeah, it's different in all different areas.
Well, so I enjoyed that first episode probably a little bit more than you do, but I definitely get the criticism. It just felt a little too disjointed as far as and too different from the other episodes. The second episode I actually did like quite a bit
Yes.
more, because sitting down with them, seeing the reaction of the other team, like nobody seemed to know that they were coming. Like the announcers were all surprised.
Come to
Um,
find out, the coach knew he was coming.
yeah,
The coach knew they were coming. That's really the only one that knew they were coming.
right.
So that was a fun little like this kind of they walked in the back like a secret back door.
And I just had to like the amount of pressure. So these guys are already putting pressure on themselves, going out onto the pitch to begin with. And then you add the pressure on that to please your coach. You add the pressure on top of that of pleasing the fans. And then beyond that, you've actually got Rob and Ryan in the stands. You got to try to please them because they're the new owners and they're doing a lot of things.
Yeah,
You want to,
that poor young defensive guy. He
yeah,
just shit the bed at that
yeah,
last goal. It's
yeah.
like I don't know. I was watching my daughter play soccer this morning. I'm like, that would have been something a 6-year-old would have done. Just ran past the ball and completely forgot it. And then it wound up in the net.
Yeah,
I mean, oh man. And they focused on him too. They focused on him at home,
right.
getting on the bus during the game, and then that happens. It's like,
His haircut was pretty fresh though. For doing it yourself, did a good job.
oh yeah, no, I'm not cutting my hair. Nope,
Yeah.
that's not happening.
Yeah, so that was tough to watch. Not only that pressure of the players, but even if you think about the pressure of Rob, like, can you imagine Rob sitting there and you convinced, Ryan to like join this thing, and it's like,
It's
Ryan's a guy
not
with a
going
lot of
well.
money and stuff, and Rob internally he must just be like, come on guys, like, let's make a
Yeah,
good
help
impression.
me out here. Throw me a bone.
Yeah. But they seem to take it in stride afterwards. I think that's what probably is a healthy thing here is that Rob and Ryan know that this is not going to happen overnight. Like
Well, yeah,
this
they
is a
even
process.
addressed that. This is not an overnight fix. This is going to
Yeah.
be, if they're lucky, the second season. They've got things to fix. They had to get ownership of the land.
Yeah.
There's change the coach, change the lineup, bring players in. There's a bunch of things that they had to fix going into it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would love to see. I mean, we may get it the second half of the season now, but see it turn the upward swing and
Yeah.
see the city on how much they're going to be enjoying it. Seeing seeing Ryan actual smile.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because he's always been he's very stoic when it comes when they're talking to the team. Rob is the one that's kind of all over the place. He's either on his throwing himself back, hands on his head.
Yes.
He's very northeastern. I'll put it
Right.
that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm ready to see some of the joy because we've seen a lot of the heartbreak.
Yeah.
There's got to be some joy, and that's what I liked about the show too. They're not candy coating anything.
Right.
They could have very easily not shown that game and showed Rob and Ryan showing up to their first game in Wrexham and them winning.
Mm-hmm.
But they showed them showing up to that game and them actually losing in heartbreak fashion,
Right.
which I think says a lot about how the way the show is being shot.
They were wearing that Philly green too. I guess that was an instance where it wasn't very good for him.
Oh yeah, we got a little inside baseball or inside football, I should say, from a few of our followers saying, what was it? They were winning 2-0.
Yeah.
Then they had to stop the game because the field was so just saturated. And then they came back and restarted the game, and then they went up losing. And actually, you can't even buy that jersey on their team store now.
Yeah, give folks an update. What was your experience with trying to get the Wrexham jersey this week?
So the first one I updated last week saying, I ordered it. I got the third jersey. I got the white one. Before our show actually shot last week, I got an email saying order was canceled, out of stock. I was bummed. It's like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I went ahead, went on the website again, and I just kind of clicked on everything. And last time it said everything was there. So I was kind of skeptical on what the website said about, if they had it in stock. I went ahead and tried to get the blue one, the new away jersey.
Yeah.
I got a confirmation yesterday saying it has been completed and it is in the mail.
There you go. That baby blue one that you had your eye on initially.
That's the one I originally wanted. I wanted the blue one. So I'm going to get the blue one. Keep an eyes open, guys. I'm going to do an unboxing. When it shows up, I'm going to do a little video, just me opening it up, putting it on, giving my best. Let's go Wrexham.
So stay tuned for that. So leading up to this thing, you and I had assumed that this is going to be the final week. It's not. So it's a good thing we don't end on a sour note here with these couple episodes. We're still in it. We're still going to be watching for further episodes down the line. We're going to continue to cover everything that happens in Welcome to Wrexham. And we love you guys joining us for it.
Yeah, real quick, though. Both Andy and Shaun, two of our Wrexham supporters, actually were actually pointing out, because we were talking about renovating the stadium.
Yeah.
How much, like my thought was, how much is the stadium itself important to the area, or is it the grounds? Could they flatten the stadium, keep parts of the stadium, put it in like a historical area, but give them a new facility?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Shaun's like, there's old parts of the stadium which will be heartbreaking from the pull down. So there's a connection to even some of the other parts of the stadium that are there. So I think it's more of a Lambeau Field for us. It's more of a Dodger Stadium, because I don't see them flattening either of them two and rebuilding.
Right.
So I think it's renovating what they've got. Even if they use the bricks, like we were saying, and they kind of put like a wall where the bricks are of all the ones that were there, so it still commemorates the support of the city.
Yeah.
But I would almost think that they need to do something. They're going to have to put a new facility up for training for the players. If they want to attract more players, definitely if they do wind up getting promoted, they're going to need some better facilities than what they currently have. But I mean, two people chimed in saying, you know what, both, like I said, Andy and Shaun, like, that's their stadium.
Yeah.
Even if it can't fit so many. But I also know through watching, I'm not sure what I was watching, there's a minimum required seating for the higher leagues. So if they do want to get promoted higher and higher, they will need to add a certain amount of seating so they can, as a max capacity of a certain amount.
Yeah, and you want to bring in as much money as you can too, because apparently all the games have been selling out. Probably with you've got an amazing fan base there as it is, but just this publicity is going to draw in more and more people from outside.
Oh yeah, I've had people respond saying, we've had Americans coming over, or we're welcoming Americans to Wrexham for the games.
Right.
So they're the amount of like influx.
Yeah.
Of like
which is
eyes
going to increase just the tourism, just the general tourism dollars, restaurants, bars. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be all good stuff for.
Can you get into that pub after a match now? You know what?
Right.
That's where I want to be. You
Yeah.
know what? If I couldn't even get into the game, if I can sit in there at the bar watching the game with drinking a pint, I mean, that'd be awesome too.
Here's what I hope for all you there in Wrexham and have been, lifelong dedicated fans there and living there. I hope it becomes too big that you don't feel like you're getting pushed out, honestly, because that could be a detriment. I don't want you guys to feel like I want them to be able to take their same seats that they always take at their pub and just have, the surrounding area, be built up or whatever.
Yeah. I think
But
it's more fun to watch a game when the heartbreak and the like actual jubilation happens as a group.
yeah.
If you're sitting there by yourself and you're just drunk and pissed because we lost, that's no fun. But if you're drunk and pissed with everybody, it's more fun.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay,
Hey, we
guys.
always love you guys dropping in comments. Chris brought up Andy and Shaun. I know there's been Simi, and all you guys who are watching, welcome to Wrexham. You're leaving comments. Be sure to do that this week. I know we're not live, but check in with us. We'll be able to respond, and we can't wait to cover the next couple episodes next week and continue on with our Wrexham journey here.
There we go. So here is the next show we'll be speaking of.
You were a faithful servant, Otto. The crown and the realm both owe you a debt that can never be repaid. But I can no longer trust your judgment.
House of the Dragons. About time. And it was his daughter, Rhaenyra, who basically called him out on it because there was a big conversation that took place before the scene. It's like, you know what? I will do my duty as heir and marry that guy.
Yeah.
You need to step up and be king.
Right.
I'm like, ooh, who can talk to the king like that?
She can, apparently. I mean, daughters are vexing. They're terribly vexing. Especially ones that you name as heir to the throne.
Yeah, because she's got some backbone, and she's got more Daemon in her than her dad.
And he recognizes that. He knows.
It's
this kid continuing on a journey here. House of the Dragon is good stuff. Every episode. This one had a lot more sex.
This was more Game of Thrones than it has been.
Yeah. So the stuff between Daemon and Rhaenyra, there was that scene where he presented her with the necklace in the first episode.
Yeah.
Where it was lit kind of a certain way and kind of got those vibes, and knowing what we know about how the Targaryens roll, they're not against that kind of thing. It seemed like a possibility. But here's the thing. They didn't go as far in this episode as I thought they might have. Like Daemon himself, I guess either he was impotent or just emotionally wasn't ready or whatever. I think that's what the show's trying to say, that he was like physically couldn't.
I think he has issues because those times earlier, was it episode 1 or 2, they show him with his horror or whatever, and he couldn't finish.
Yeah.
So I think there's something going on with Daemon.
Yeah.
So it's
no Viagra in Westeros.
Nope.
Too bad.
That's funny, but or kaiju bone paste or so whatever it is. Watch Pacific Rim recently.
Yeah, so that was surprising. So he comes back. He chopped his hair off. He comes back as a victor. Like, I didn't need your 10 damn ships. But he, comes back and he bends the knee. You're the one true king. To Viserys, presents him with that wooden crown or whatever.
Or the hammer too, says add it to the chair.
Yeah. But Rhaenyra knows it's like you didn't just come back here for your family. Like, you're up to something.
There's something going on. Yeah. And then he's like going on, and he's sitting back there. When he goes into the courtyard and they're talking, and he's like, how about we show him, Alicent was like, how about we show him this area? And they laugh. I was like, yeah, no, he wants nothing to do with that.
I felt so bad for Alicent in that moment because they were just straight up laughing at her. And this woman she's trying, man. She's such in a bad spot. I think she had, she's playing the game. She's part of the game, whether she was thrust into it or not. Like, it's some of this is probably not her fault that she's there. She what?
You said you had some choice words. She was thrust into it.
Oh yeah. Pun intended, I guess. Pun intended. But I also got from her, I think her words were genuine when she told Rhaenyra, I just miss my friend. I just want to be.
She's alone. She has nobody.
Right.
I mean, Viserys calls on her at like 3 in the morning. It looks like she wasn't having a good time.
No, but who would? I mean, he's a lot older, but he's got sores all over him.
Yeah, he's not long for this world. He's dying. He's dying quickly.
Yeah. So he's
But
making sure as many heirs to the throne live as possible, I guess.
oh boy, yeah. But yeah,
So that was more sex. Yeah, I forgot about that
yeah, there
sex.
was that. There was it's hard to talk about this episode just because it was just brothels and
Yeah.
just anything and everything. I mean, it went from that. Rhaenyra goes back to her room, and there's these like get up that she can kind of sneak out. There's a magical, not magical, but a mystery passway behind her bed that she didn't know about.
The magical mystery tour.
The magical school bus.
Yeah, and then she goes out and she meets Damon. Damon takes her, and she's having the time of her life. She's having a bunch of fun, like being, thought of as a boy and being in disguise. It reminded me of like Arya kind of sneaking around and stuff.
Ah, yes. Okay, I can
Um,
see that.
and yeah, so but then, her and Damon get into it. There's a mutual attraction there. She's ready to go all the way. Like she's ready.
Oh yeah, she's
Um,
just walking through those halls and seeing all that she's seeing. She's like, let's do this.
yeah. And she got fired up to the point where it's like, and Damon walks away, and now she's like, well, now what I'm gonna do? Like she's got the female Targaryen version of blue balls, I guess. So she's like,
The female version.
so she heads back to her room, right? And Sir Christos is there. Is his name Sir Christoph? Or anyway, the knight, the good looking knight that's always at her door and
But
who
he
rode
truly
off with
didn't
her.
want to. Yeah, it's like, how do
No,
you
he's
say
not
no to
allowed.
her? You can't say no to her, but he knows the implications if he's caught or if he
Yeah,
gets out. So
right.
it's like, I mean, you can't say no, but you want to say yes type of situations. Like Jesus.
Yeah, he was kind of stuck. I mean, it was at the end of the day, he basically betrayed his oath, and he did what probably any man in his right mind or wrong mind would want to
Wrong
do.
man would have done.
Yeah. And that was yet another sex scene, and there was juxtaposed with the sex scene with Viserys and Alicent, where she was just like, I mean, like laying like a stone in bed and not enjoying herself, but Rhaenyra was clearly enjoying herself.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like the dichotomy between their relationship and what's going on with them. And but word gets out. I mean, when she left the brothel, there was a little kid that spied it,
Little sparrow.
and yeah, a little sparrow, right? And word gets back, and I guess Damon's wife, which he calls the whore or whatever, not very nice terms, but she's making her own little mark there in King's Landing, where she seems to be developing her own power, almost like a master of whispers kind of thing, like gosh, not Littlefinger, the other one,
Viserys.
Viserys. Yeah, how he used to be. And she has that power over Damon. Like, I know what happened last night. Oh, and after that, when Damon goes to Viserys, I guess he's drug out of there by the king's guard, right?
Oh, and he just drops him on the.
Oh, and he's hungover. He's in bad shape.
He doesn't care. He's like, I don't care. It doesn't matter what I say. You're gonna
Yeah.
believe what you believe. So why do I even bother?
He embraces it. He's like, I want Rhaenyra. Like, I want her to be mine. I want to take two wives, and just like the days of old. And Viserys is just like kicking him in the gut. That was a rough scene too. So do you think it's officially over between these two brothers? It's got to be, right?
I would think so. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of a line. You go after my daughter. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
And you're trying, and then they're dragging her name now through the mud. And then
Mhm.
we've seen the scene, what we watched going into this, where Otto basically gets called out for everything that he's been doing, from
Right.
putting Alicent, in that position. It was he basically said, you put her there, you positioned her there.
Yeah.
Yes, she got me through all this, but I'll never get over his old wife's, death.
Mhm.
And he's like, when did you turn your back on your king for your own ambitions?
Right. And he started to wonder if Otto had anything to do with his own father's death. Like, how far did you take this? Like, what don't I know about, the moves that you've made in the past to get where you are today?
Yeah, you go from a
Um,
man that was just sitting on the council to the second most powerful man in the realm.
yeah, that has a daughter that's, the acting queen basically and is pumping out the new heirs. Like, that's a big that's a big pay grade.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
a
makes
big
you really wonder,
leap.
where is he going to have a hand in Viserys' death, or will Viserys die of natural
Oh, that's
causes?
interesting. I thought I was assumed Viserys was just gonna die from his illness, but oh, that's interesting. I don't know.
Because as soon as Viserys is dead, then the battle's on. Because technically, Rhaenyra is the heir, but
Right.
the realm is going to want the I don't know, the child, the man, the boy.
Yeah.
They're going to want him as the heir. And I know we have to be taking the time jump soon. I think
Mhm.
the next episode, if it's not that, it's got to be soon.
It's gotta be, yeah, in the next couple.
Now I don't know anything about the books. I've heard people hinting at, we're going to have their version of the Red Wedding happening this next episode.
Ooh.
And I'm looking forward to Sunday night for that reason. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
know what this is. What could this be? And I look, Janessa, my wife, she loves it. She's watching shows with me. She won't. I asked her last night, said, between the Power of the Rings and House of the Dragon, which one you enjoy more? She gives me a, you can't do that. But I'm
Yeah.
like, there is an episode coming. There's an episode of Game of Thrones called The Red Wedding. I think we're gonna go back. I kind of want to go back and watch Game of Thrones. So once it's, I may power through that with her, so
Yeah.
she gets a good feeling of it. But I said, if anything like that happens in this show next week, it's going to break the internet, because it broke the internet the first time. And I'm like,
It
I'm
sure as
pumped
heck
for it.
did.
I don't know
Yeah.
what to expect though. I don't know what could equate to the Red Wedding, if unless it's going to be the wedding of Rhaenyra and uh the Sea Snake's son,
Right.
and something goes down there.
Possibly. That's the only wedding I can think of taking place right now, given the story. But yeah, I love this show is just like moving. It's moving at compared to Lord of the Rings, it's moving at a much quicker pace, but I'm able to follow along because characters wise, we have kind of a more of a condensed group of characters within, kind of the same setting. So that's how you can kind of balance these things out. And I'm enjoying both shows. I'm enjoying
It's a
House of the Dragon
smaller
as well.
world too
Yeah.
than the Lord of the Rings, the Power of the Rings.
Yeah. So we're along for I can't wait until next week. You're right. I kind of heard inklings that there was going to be something on that level next week, but it's a little early. I don't know if it can even possibly have the same kind of or like reaction to it that the Red Wedding had, because that was already like 2 or 3 seasons in. But still, something along those lines, a big shakeup to see, maybe just shake up of the players, and maybe that's why after the event that's coming, maybe that's why they have to have the time jump into the future.
It's gonna be something. I'm looking forward to it. I'm highly
Yeah.
looking forward to this Sunday night to watch it and see what everyone's talking about. There is a book, so people know in the know, kind of have an idea where it's leading towards.
So Rhaenyra, the final shot of the scene, Rhaenyra is presented with that moon tea to basically abort whatever potential baby might be in there. They think it may be Damon's baby. We know that it's not, but potentially it could be, the knight that's been watching over her. Did she take that tea or no?
I think she takes it.
Yeah.
I think she will, because I think she doesn't want. But I don't know, because if she takes it, it's an admission of guilt.
That's what I was wondering. Like yeah, exactly. Like that if you're so certain that it didn't happen, then there's no need for you to take it. So it's like, I don't know. That's tough.
Because if
She's in
she
a predicament.
doesn't take it, if she takes it, she's either admitting to guilt with Damien, or she's got to throw the other guy under the bus.
Right.
So she can't win in this instance.
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully maybe we get an answer next week. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things to leave as kind of a thread. But you and I will definitely be covering it the 5th episode of House of the Dragon next week.
There we go. So, guys, what do you think? I mean, I think Shaun and I both look highly on this show, this episode. Like I said, it's hard to talk about. There's just a lot of, sexy time in this episode.
Yeah.
But if you guys have anything that you want to add, drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. For any and all of them, all 3 shows we've been talking about, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And I guess until after the show, we'll see you next week.
See ya.